5 wins, no defeats. 17 of those victories by way of knockout. He is a 2012 U.S. Olympian, making his 4th world title defense from Avenal and proudly representing California's Central Valley. He is the reigning, defending WBC, WBO, Junior Welterweight Champion of the World, Jose Ramirez!
Centering, gentlemen. Mouthpiece. Mouthpiece. Okay, trunks here. Anything below this line's a foul. Anything below this line's a foul. Gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room. I want to remind you, protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands. God bless you both. Touch up.
You can join in for this championship fight. ESPN.hearmecheer.com to have your voice heard. What will we hear early on between these two? Dre, yesterday, when we asked the champ, Jose Ramirez, what he wanted the tone and tenor of this fight to look like early on, he said beating him to the jab, taking control of the fight early with the jab.
Well, that's what you want your fighter to say, especially when he's dealing with a fighter like Viktor Postol, who can be crafty and somewhat jittery. You know, he's always bouncing on his toes. He presents a high guard like he's ready to punch, but he's not always willing to punch. That's what you want to do. You want Ramirez to come behind the jab, so as the fight progresses, you'll start to see it turn into a Jose Ramirez fight. A lot of in-close, mid-range fighting.
Up. Up.
You know, every time Ramirez gets close, you're going to see Postol, he's going to reach out and try to grab Ramirez. He's going to try to slow him down and not allow him to work in the inside. Right now, he's having his way on the outside, containing the outside with this jab, and just like Dre said, with this movement as well, stepping back and popping that jab.
He is so long, he glides when he's at his best, coming in with that jab. Of course, Ramirez wants to close that gap like that.
These first 6 rounds are where Postol really wants to live. This is where he's got to take advantage of Jose Ramirez, because we know, if you know Jose Ramirez, you know he likes to press the issue and, you know, step things up as the fight progresses. Postol, not so. He needs to get these rounds in the bag now, so when Ramirez does that, if he's unable to keep up the pace with Ramirez, at least he has the early rounds in the bag.
Let go. Let go. Let him go.
You know, right now I'm real surprised that Ramirez has already worked his way in the inside already on Postol. And you see how Postol is very uncomfortable when he's being pressed. Like I told you guys, he doesn't have a good inside game, and that is where Ramirez loves to live.
Had success with the left hook moments ago. Short right hand on the inside as well. Back to range in the jab of Viktor Postol. .28-0 he started his career, did the Ukrainian. 3-2 since then. Of course, the 2 career losses, Josh Taylor and Terrence Crawford. Going the distance with both. End of 1.
Buen round, José. ¿Cómo lo sentiste? ¿No está muy fuerte? Ok, mira. Bonito. Siga, no dejes de mover, ¿ok? Ya en el último.
Very little from Freddie Roach. Now, Freddie is a very, very calm trainer in the corners, as we've seen through the years, but then the translation comes from the assistant Oleg Kovalchuk in the corner of Viktor Postol. Freddie wasn't so quiet though, Timmy, when we met with him last night. He was very firm in his belief as to how things would play out here, saying Postol can outbox him. He's the better boxer compared to Ramirez. That Ramirez, and of course Freddie trained Ramirez, Ramirez is too wide of a puncher. He will go to the body, but we can beat him right up the middle.
Well, Tess, I mean, that's a lot easier said than done. I mean, the thing that was compelling to me when listening to him during the fighter meeting is that Viktor Postol came in with his own plan and also his own workout, and Freddie Roach was like, okay. I'm like, wait, I'm willing to follow this. That blew my mind listening to that in the fighter meeting, you know, because Freddie Roach is a Hall of Fame trainer. Wouldn't you think he would have the training program for a fighter like Postol? That's what I would think. But going back to your question, Tess, Freddie knows Ramirez. Ramirez is a pressure fighter, but he's gotten better under the guidance of Robert Garcia. You know, Robert Garcia has shown him how to move his head from side to side, how to use his jab, you know, and attack the right way.
Well, that is the right game plan on paper. That's the right game plan in theory, but you got to have the right fighter with the right temperament to be able to walk through the fire that Ramirez is bringing with those punches. And, you know, it is fire. Those are heavy shots that are landing when they do land. And Freddie can't help Viktor Postol in that department.
Well, you're going to need more than just a jab to keep Ramirez off of you. You know, you're going to need some power shots as well. We know Ramirez is going to get inside and land those power shots to the head and body of Postol.
There's a left hand to the body. See Doug with that angle. Back to the jab for Postol. Both fighters landed 9 punches apiece in that first round.
Great job by Ramirez, you know, by getting that body work in, even if it's 1 or 2 early on. So as he starts to step things up, Postol will be more of a target because the body work will start to sink in.
Against that long frame of the 36-year-old, 5'11" former champ.
Desire in his conditioning, and it's hard sometimes for an opponent to measure those kind of things. Typically you look for, you know, a specific punch, or, you know, this guy has a good jab, he has good footwork. You don't really see anything from Ramirez that wows you, but what he has on the inside is made up of greatness. His legacy is still being written. He still has big fights that he needs to fight, and, you know, we'll see if he wins those big fights, but the willingness to want to face other champions, and so far he's beaten those champions, that's what greatness is made of.
And that will manifested itself in the 6th round in July of 2019 with that devastating left hook that caved in Maurice Hooker. And that is how he became a unified champion. But it has been the long layoff, 13 months, longest layoff of his career, as he tries to chase down Postol now across the ring. Postol getting out of the way as Ramirez hoping to get him against those ropes.
Yeah, it looks like Postol is getting comfortable now. You know, he's found his range with his jab, coming behind it with some combinations about 15 seconds ago. Ramirez looks a little bit bewildered at the moment. He's looks a little bit uncomfortable. He's trying to be patient. He's not moving his head too much right now, but he needs to get his jab working. Whether you throw the jab to the head, I would prefer it down to the chest or the body of Postol.
I think Ramirez is just taking a breather. And I think he's trying to bring Postol to him. He wants Postol to open up, feel comfortable, and get brave so he can land a big shot.
Short chopping right hand, then backs him up with a jab of his own.
I think the one thing that we don't talk about often is the chin. You know, Ramirez has a granite chin. I mean, he's been hit by some hard punchers in his division, and he ate these shots, and he came back with his own.
End of 3 from Vegas. Dre, we keep focusing in on the jab of Viktor.
Jab-centric fighter. He has an Eastern European style. He has a long left hand. He's a tall fighter with a long reach, and he uses it. That's his biggest asset, and that's what's carried him to a championship, and he hopes it'll carry him to another championship tonight.
Right here, straight as an arrow, right down the middle.
Very good. Seconds out.
And now Freddie Roach is looking to add the next piece of weaponry. As you heard him saying, the jab is beautiful, that long left hand. But the right hand he wants to see straight as an arrow, right down the middle, against his former charge, Jose Ramirez, who he won a world championship with. Ramirez now has Robert Garcia in the corner with him. This is his 4th fight with Garcia. Of course, Robert, a lot that's relatable with Jose, sons of Mexican immigrant farm workers. Bernardo, you were listening in to Robert Garcia after that last round. What can you tell us?
I asked him, how do you get inside that jab? He said it's not